Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche, and this week I want to share a fun woodland plant with you. As you can see, my nephew Lincoln was very excited when we went on a woodland walk and found wild leek, also known as wild ramps. The Latin name is Allium trichocum, and it is one of 5 native species we have in Michigan in the onion family. It's a native perennial forb with a coefficient of conservatism of 5, so a little bit above average in Michigan. And it grows in all sorts of rich, mesic, deciduous forested habitats, both in uplands and river floodplain sites across the lower and upper peninsulas of Michigan. It especially likes moist areas of beech maple and beech maple hemlock stands. And these woodlands often include overstory species, American beech and sugar maple, of course, but also black maple, basswood, northern red oak, white ash, bitternut hickory, black cherry, tulip tree, and American and red elms. In the understory in these systems, you'll find ironwood, also known as hop hornbeam, musclewood, flowering and alternate leaf dogwood, pawpaw, leatherwood, witch hazel, and spicebush in the understory, ferns like maidenhair, Christmas, lady, and marginal wood ferns, and lots of really lovely woodland wildflowers like jack in the pulpit, wild ginger, blue cohosh, baneberries, spring beauties, Dutchman's breeches, trout lilies, trillium, bloodroot, and mayapple. So really special places. And unlike its companion spring ephemerals, wild leek blooms in very late June through early August, so much later than those spring wildflowers. So this made for a fun and spectacular surprise on a hot July afternoon. This plant is unusual because its foliage, which is broad and smells like onion, that carpets the forest floor in May, but they die back by the time the plant blooms, making them appear as these sort of floating bright little starbursts in the deep shadows of the beech maple forest. This species prefers dappled sunlight in the spring and can tolerate dense shade in the summer. It grows in rich loam soils with abundant organic matter, and it really likes mesic site conditions. So that's like Goldilocks and the porridge, not too wet, not too dry, just right as far as moisture conditions are concerned. The best way to start a new colony of this species is to divide and transplant the bulbs during the fall when the plant is dormant. And be sure if you're doing this that you have the appropriate permissions and that you're foraging and collecting in a sustainable manner that doesn't wipe out existing populations. As far as identification goes, this species is readily recognized by its broad, bright green leaves in May that are 4 to 9 inches long and 1.5 to 3.5 inches wide. And again, they smell strongly of onion, and they'll wither by summer. But when they are around in the spring, note the red bases that are hairless. And the plant yields a leafless flowering stalk in early to mid-summer. So again, it doesn't bloom until late June through early August. But that flower stalk is 6 to 18 inches tall. When the inflorescence is still in the buds phase, it will be red, just like the leaf bases. and the flower stalk terminates in a round umbel of flowers, so typical of the alliums. They are 1 to 2 inches across and usually have 20 to 40 flowers per umbel. Each flower is about a 1/4 inch across, and it has 6 white translucent tepals, a light green to pale yellow ovary, 6 stamens with pale yellow anthers, and a single white style. Blooming in a given population lasts about 2 weeks, and the fruit is a 3-celled seed capsule with a single black seed developing in each cell. The root system of wild leek includes an ovoid bulb with fibrous roots that develop offsets, creating the clonal colonies of plants that develop across the forest floor. All parts of the plant, the leaves, the flowers, and especially the bulbs, give off a strong odor of onion. So there are many uses for this plant. The bulb may be eaten raw or cooked, and it makes good flavoring raw in salads or cooked in savory dishes like soup, scrambled eggs, or potatoes. The leaves may also be eaten raw or cooked, and the flowers may be eaten raw and can be used as a garnish on salads. Here's an example of wild ramp butter that I found at one of our local party stores. It was really good. So all sorts of products and recipes. I'll try to share some links for wild leek recipes, but fun things that you can eat using this species. Word of caution in preparing this for yourself, if you never have had it before, make sure you have the ID correct and try in small doses first. That's always best when trying a new wild plant that you haven't had in your diet before. There have been some cases of poisoning with very large quantities of this plant consumed, so observe moderation, and also poisonings in some mammals. As with other things in the onion family, dogs are particularly sensitive, so keep them away from this plant. As far as wild faunal associations go, the flowers produce pollen and nectar that attract many kinds of bees, halictid, mast, bumblebees, mason, and honeybees. And they also support other insects like flies and thrips. And it's rarely browsed by deer or other mammalian herbivores, probably because of that onion taste, which is a rare thing in our woodlands today, to have a wildflower that the deer won't touch. I was also amazed at this plant's health benefits and sort of uses over human history. This species was traditionally used as an emetic to induce vomiting with a strong decoction made from the root. Also as a spring tonic to clean you out. It was also used to treat colds, being pickled in brown sugar and rum, and topically to treat earaches, ingested to help with intestinal worms, and it was recommended by traditional folk medicine to lower blood pressure and reduce bad cholesterol. It's been used for centuries in traditional medicine by numerous Native American tribes and cultures across the British Isles. And recent research suggests that flavonoid antioxidant camphorol found in wild leeks is involved with cell death in various types of cancer. It's also a good source of iron and choline, which is a neurotransmitter that helps support brain function, so cognitive function, and help facilitate learning in both adults and children. So to protect this plant in the wild and make sure that it's available for future generations to enjoy, it's important to monitor and manage invasive species in these mesic beech maple ecosystems. In particular, garlic mustard, Alliaria petiolata is the Latin name. This plant starts growing early in the growing season, and it can shade out the basal leaves of wild leek, ultimately leading to population declines over time. So taking care of these woodlands is what we need to do so that it's available for our children and grandkids and relatives to enjoy in the future. Thanks for a lovely walk in the woods, Lincoln.